Today we are talking about 10 upcoming cozy games that almost seem too good to be true. And these games truly stand out among the rest for trying to do things which no other game is even attempting. And if these are done right, then these could easily be some of the best cozy games of all time. First up on today's list is PuffPals Island Skies. Now, this was first announced back in 2022 and garnered a ton of hype. In fact, the Kickstarter wound up raising over $2 million. And honestly, if this delivers on everything it says it's going to contain, then this could be one of my favorite life sims of all time. As this is all about exploring a brand new world, where you get to experience everything for the first time all over again. And in this, you'll get to make friends with adorable new neighbors, decorate your house to make it into your home, and explore each of the breathtakingly beautiful biomes, including underwater and Arctic lands to discover. Now, this already looks like a life sim that I could spend a ton of time in, but there's a few things that really set it apart from the rest. As not only can you fish, farm, cook, and even own your very own pet, you'll also have the ability to run your very own store, which I love the idea of. But the thing that really caught my eye was the fact that there is going to be an amusement park biome where you can hang out with your friends and play carnival at as well. Now, we don't have an exact release date, but we know this is coming to PC and all consoles, including the Switch, which I say Switch because I think the Switch 2 is going to be out before this fully releases. Either way, I'm really excited. Next up, we have Outbound. Now, I might not be able to drive in real life, but I actually truly love driving sim games. So Outbound really caught my eye, as it's a crafting sim mixed with an open world camper van exploration where you get to drive wherever you want to go. The beginning of the game will start you off with an empty camper van, and as you explore, you'll be able to transform your van into a home by gathering materials, crafting, and building bit by bit as you adapt your van to your needs as you travel around. But the part that really caught my eye about this is the fact that you can play this with up to 3 other people, making this a driving adventure that you can enjoy either on your own or with your friends. This is truly such a unique combination of genres, and although we don't have any release dates yet, we know this is going to be coming to PC and Nintendo Switch, sort of, when it releases. Next up is today's sponsor, and that is 30 Birds. And thankfully, this is a game you won't have to wait very long to play, as this is out on Steam right now, and it's coming early next year on Nintendo Switch. This is truly such a unique take on a narrative puzzle game, as the entire story takes place on the surface of a rotating lantern that you're free to explore. And this will see you play as Zig, a detective on the hunt for an international criminal known as the Scientist. But right when Zig gets close to finally uncovering who the Scientist is, the city's goddess is kidnapped, and you know it's the Scientist's doing. So it of course becomes your job to try and save the goddess in time, seeing you solve puzzles and befriending the locals to try and get you one step closer. I absolutely adore this art style and love how this is inspired by not only Persian art, but also Persian mythology. I honestly can't wait for this to come to the Nintendo Switch. It's the perfect game to play in bed, and if you're interested, you can check the link in the description down below to check out 30 Birds. Next up is Ages of Cararia. Now, despite the fact that this has been delayed, this is still a game I am endlessly looking forward to, as it's truly unlike anything I've seen before, as this is a village story generator, and will see you craft the origin story of your village and try to uncover the legend for yourself, as you take care of generations of villagers. Each of the villagers will have their own skill proficiencies, personalities, and traits, and it's up to you to decide which tasks to assign them to try and get them to work to their strengths. But managing your villagers won't be your only problem, as you'll also come up against world events, such as navigating hurricanes, earthquakes, and blizzards. And you'll also have to tackle some story-driven quests that will not only define your villager's life, but also craft the story of the entire town. The part that really interested me though is how the movement of time will work. As the Kickstarter says, this game will be following in real life time and following the seasons of real life as well. The only difference is that each villager's lifespan will only last 7 weeks. And you'll be able to follow them through each of the stages of their life, and once they've passed on, their spirit will enter what's called the spirit tree, causing it to grow as they watch over the village. And the best part to me is the fact that there's elements of replayability. You see, at the beginning of the game, you get to pick between 2 different ancestries, either the humans or the elves, each of which have their very own building aesthetics, both require different resources, and will even have their very own lifestyle events. I love the fact that this is a town building game in its essence, but instead has a focus on the people rather than building the biggest village or the biggest town. It's a game we haven't heard a whole lot about. It says it's coming sometime in 2025 to PC and consoles, including the Switch, but it's such a cool concept, I really hope they take their time with it. Next up, we have Grave Seasons. Now this is for the cozy gamer that not only enjoys farming sims, but also enjoys murder mysteries, and I know that is a lot of you. Now this starts like every normal farming sim does. You move into a brand new town where you know absolutely no one and start up your very own farm. And you spend your days planting crops, tending to your livestock, and also getting to know each of the locals. But you see, Grave Seasons has a twist. Someone in your village is actually a serial killer, and it's up to you to figure out which villager it is. And as someone who typically doesn't get all that involved in the friendship mechanics in a farming sim, I think this game may be my exception, because this makes getting to know the locals really interesting and could mean the villager that you're trying to romance is actually the serial killer. But the best part about this entire game is that the serial killer is actually randomly generated, meaning that every time you start a brand new save file, it will be someone completely different. This means that there's no cheating, no finding the right answer. You're just gonna have to trust your serial killer intuition to figure out who it is. And if this is pulled off correctly, this may be one of my favorite farming sims of all time. I can't wait to start a brand new life sim and also be terrified all at the same time. Next up, we have Loftia. Now this is another game that saw huge success when it first launched on Kickstarter, with over $1 million raised. And this is again for very good reason. You see, Loftia is a cozy MMO where you can craft, farm, and build your very own dream house alongside not only NPCs, but also other players, all with the goal of making the world a better place. And this not only has your normal life sim stuff like farming, decorating, and crafting, it also has the addition of quests, which will see you wander around multiple biomes, tackling puzzles, and taking on adventures, which can either be done by yourself or with a group of up to 10 people. I love that the essence of this entire game is all about working together, with it having player-run markets and even thrift stores for you to go into. And the idea of having a brand new world filled with cozy gamers that they can decorate and live in just makes me so excited. And we just know it's going to be full of cottages. Next up, we have Wanderstop. Now this on the surface looks to be an incredibly cozy game. However, this is also made by the team who made the Stanley Parable, so things most definitely won't be as cozy as they may seem. Now this is described as being a narrative-centric cozy game all about tea and change. And this will see you play as a fallen fighter called Alta, who manages a tea shop in a magical forest. And the trailer shows you growing and harvesting the ingredients, mixing them together in a weird contraption that even as a PhD chemist looks a little bit wild. And it's said that when you're not brewing, you can also find yourself talking to the travelers, passing through the town, tidying up, or even decorating. The only issue is, Alta doesn't want to be here, and this life is not who she is. And that is all we know. Now this game has been delayed until March next year, I believe, and it is coming to PS5 first and PC, with other consoles hopefully coming later. But this seems like such a cool concept, and I can't wait to see what the true story is that lies beneath the cozy surface. Then we have Floatopia. This is another gorgeous life sim that brings with it its very own spin, as this will see you decorate your home, fish, farm, forage, and of course befriend the neighbours. But there's also an entire story that goes alongside of this as well, as in Floatopia, it's not just the world that's magical. As in this town, each person possesses their very own unique superpower, but not every power is deemed to be useful. And in this, you've teamed up with a crew of friends, all with powers that have been deemed useless. And together you set out to redefine the meaning of what it is to be useful, and prove to everyone that every power has a hidden potential. Now, the thing that really caught my eye about this game is it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I got a chance to play a really early demo at Gamescom, and even that was absolutely stunning. Now, because you have a superpower, this has one thing in it that not enough games actually have, and that is the ability for you to fly, which is a fantastic trait to have when there are so many islands, each with their very own biome, where you can find anything from giant towns, mountaintops, fairy tale kingdoms, and so much more. Now, although this isn't releasing anytime soon, we do know that this is a free-to-play game and it will be available on the Nintendo Switch. So I guess we just have to wait and see what the monetization is like. Then we have Trade Tales. And this caught my eye for being more of a shop sim than an actual life sim, which is absolutely perfect, as 2024 turned out to be the year where I became obsessed with games like Supermarket Sim and TCG Sim. So the idea of having shop simulation mixed with life sim elements really spoke to me. So this is a game that lets you do your normal farming sim stuff, but alongside of that, you're also an entrepreneur, allowing you to run whichever shop you want. And this can be anything from bakeries, jewelry stores, pet stores, or even restaurants, which you get to run from the ground up. So this includes setting up and managing your very own factory, including the production lines, where you can take things like your crops and turn them into something more valuable. Like, for example, growing potatoes and then managing the entire production line to turn those into crisps, which you can then sell in your very own store that you get to not only run, but also decorate. I think 2023-2024 was the year of the cozy farming sim, but I truly think that the next wave of cozy games we'll be getting is going to be shop sims and restaurant sims. So let's hope they're all absolutely incredible. The final game on today's list is the one we know the least about, but also the one I am the most excited for, and that is Witchbrook. Now, we haven't had any information on this game in years. We just have a couple of screenshots to go off of, but we have had reassurance that the game is not only still being worked on, but that they're really happy with the progress so far. In this, you are enrolled in Witchbrook College as a witch in training. And as part of your schooling, you're moved to a brand new town as a resident witch. And in this, you'll spend your days attending class, completing assignments, brewing potions, and helping people across town with your magic. But of course, school isn't all about classes, and you'll also be able to make friends and even maybe find the love of your life. So this is essentially a school life sim that all happens in a world filled with magic. The thing I really like about the concept for this game, though, is the fact that when school finishes, the game doesn't end, and there's even more for you to do in your postgraduate life. I guess the only thing we can hope for is that 2025 is the year where we get a full trailer instead of just these screenshots. That's it for my top picks of cozy games that look almost too good to be true. If you want to see all the cozy games left in 2024, click this video here.